guys, I'm Lauren. Welcome to my channel. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate your time. This is day one of this week's vlog, and I actually went shopping today. I went plant shopping a little bit. I was looking for some vermiculite and a couple of other things, and I didn't find anything that I was looking for, so I really didn't film it. But I did go to Lowe's, and I ended up finding some plants while I was there that I really wanted. So I'm going to kind of show you my plant haul. I got quite a few on accident. It didn't feel like a few until, yeah. Alright, so here's what I got. If you're on my Instagram, you probably saw this already. This beautiful Ripsalis. Apparently it is an epiphytic cacti, so it lives on trees in the south, which is really cool. I'm pretty fascinated by this. I've never owned a Ripsalis before, so please leave your comments below and let me know how to care for this beauty. I did post up on my Instagram and I did post up on my TikTok asking for help, and a lot of you guys really helped me out. That's how I was able to figure out and get an ID and whatnot on this. So definitely appreciate it. It's very long, very traily, and then the texture is what got me. It kind of feels like, you know, you get those squishy silicone balls that have like glitter and stuff in them, and then they're kind of stretchy a little bit, but they still feel a little firm. I don't know if you've played with those. I see them in the dollar store all the time, and I have kids, so. But it kind of feels like that. Just, I don't know, it's one of those, I can't stop touching it. It's definitely a texture thing, because it looks weird. And then this appears to be, let me see if I can show you the new growth. You can see where it's a lighter, skinnier, you know, lighter, skinnier color just right there on the end there. So I think that's kind of how the new growth works with this, which is kind of cool. I'm excited to see what this one turns into. And then once I figure out how to take care of it and then I can propagate it, I'll be happy to share, of course, because I wouldn't have it without you guys. So next up, I actually, as soon as I came home, I took off the little hanger thing from it because it's a high humidity plant, and I shoved it in my greenhouse right away. So it's in a hanging pot, but I took the little hanger off. And that is this beautiful Salaginella. This one is called the Rainbow Moss. I have other Salaginella that's just your standard green Salaginella. This one gets kind of a blue hue in the right lighting. So, and it's very trailing. But I really wanted, you can kind of see the blue there. Like right there. I don't know if the camera is picking it up. But what you don't really ever get a chance to see is these aerial roots under here. All these little white things under here are actually little roots. They're a creeper and a crawler, so they're just looking for something else to latch onto. And in order to propagate it, you can just chop off a little bit and put it right into your terrarium or whatever. I say terrarium because that's what I intend to use this for. I'm planning on chopping up this and finishing up my terrarium for tomorrow. So that's kind of the plan. I've got to finish up that terrarium and then get that video posted for you guys tomorrow. So, but I wanted to share this with you. It's really cool. If you happen to get a chance, they're usually called like a rainbow fern, or some type of like a moss fern, but they are very high humidity plants, definitely for terrariums, but they propagate really easily. I also picked this one up. This is Fittonia franki. You can tell by these right up here. So when they get enough light, they'll keep the pink like that, and as they mature more and get less light, they start to look more like this, and then eventually like this. So you've probably walked past this quite a bit. Last year it was quite a rare plant. I got a single cutting of it, and honestly it's my favorite Fittonia ever. I've got several. I think I have 5 Fittonia now, 5 different varieties. But to find a whole full pot of that was just really cool. I got a whole bucket here of various ones. So I ended up getting a new aloe, standard medicinal aloe plant, and it's got a little pup growing in the center here. I don't know if you can kind of see there. Sorry, I'm trying to hide my face so it'll actually like pick up the, but yeah. So there's a little pup going in there, and then this is great for burns and whatnot, and they get really huge. Nigel Saunders is doing a whole bonsai thing with his aloe, and it's really cool. I don't know if I'd want to go that route with this. I just wanted to have one. I had a big one before, and it got smaller and smaller over time with my kids knocking it down constantly, until eventually it got root rot and died. Took about 3 years though. Okay, so this is the Sempervarium, also known as hens and chicks is the common term for them. I've gotten these before. They have died on me. With succulents, I'm coming to realize lighting is a very big deal, and I live in the Pacific Northwest. I don't get a lot of light, except for in the summertime. But I am planning on incorporating this with the other succulents that I have here into like a succulent garden, like maybe a little bowl of them. And then I'll set it on the windowsill in my southern window and we'll see how it works. Worst comes to worst, I'll have the experience of making one of those pretty succulent gardens. Okay, so this one is called the California Sunset. It's one of the grapey ones. It's a grapey California Sunset. Similar to an echeveria, but the foliage is much thicker, I've noticed. Alright, and then I also got this cutie. He's really neat. This one's called a Firestorm. I think he's so fierce looking. Look at him. He's so cool. He's just really pretty. So I want to kind of incorporate those. And then this one, Shelly from Plants in a Pickle gave me a little one and I loved it so much. But I ended up not making it. I'm sorry, Shelly. It didn't make it. So I think it just didn't handle me letting it dry out in that substrate too much. So, but I did end up getting more. And this is some type of chrysula. So, I think it's also commonly known as the watch chain. But I thought it was kind of cool because look, just the way it all looks. They're like little teeny tiny trees. I don't know. It's just really neat. I really enjoy it. Right, and then this one I've had before and killed it, and I'm trying it again. It's another hens and chicks. And it gets like these little cobwebs over them naturally. It's just a protective layer from the sun. So last time I ended up tipping it over and soil went into all the little cracks and crevices. And even with a paintbrush, I couldn't get it out. And I think it just couldn't get what it needed. Because there's very little light here anyway, so to have your foliage all covered in soil, then it's just not going to be able to get any of the nutrients and soak up that sun like it wants. So, but I like these guys. These guys look so cute. Look at them. So that is my little haul. And I could have done a separate video for it, but I wanted to kind of incorporate it into this vlog for you guys. So I'm sorry I didn't get any video of the store, but I will try to next time, or I'll try to do like a planty tour where I specifically go and I organize it so that I can make it happen properly. So, but it just didn't happen this time and I'm sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and put all these away and I will let you go and I will see you in the morning. Alright guys, it's another day and I went a little bonkers and I kind of reorganized my entire plant room. Like straight up moved the furniture and everything. But it was fun and it feels so much better and it feels so much more fresh in here. So yeah, let me kind of show you, what I have going on in here, okay? Alright, so over here I ended up getting another terrarium and I put lights in there. And then that's the newest terrarium. That video is going to be going up later today. That is a terrarium. I think I'm going to take some of the stuff out of there and put it in that terrarium down there. Probably some stuff out of that terrarium and putting it down there too. I don't know. That's another video for another day. I promise I won't do nothing but terrariums. I know that's not for everybody. I reorganized that top shelf, but I've still got a lot more plants that I've got to fit over there. Alright, so these two here are, these are cedar boards. So I got really rough, inexpensive, untreated cedar boards, and I'm having to move my Micans, and I'm going to have to put them on here at some point. So I need to find a new location that was taller. I gotta clean off up there too. Always stuff to clean. Alright, but I managed to spread everything out over there. I took down the two plants that were there. I replaced that one. It was a variegated Maranta, but I replaced it with a Mandula pothos, or Mandula epipremnum. And then I've got my little golden boy here. Alright, and then down here on the table, I need to do treatment and rescues of all of these plants. So, and then I still have my little garden I want to do there, my little succulent garden, but we'll get to that later this week or next week. Maybe we'll make a whole separate video on that, I don't know. But yeah, I've got this Calathea needs some treatment and some dead dying leaves. And then this guy's been overwatered and needs to be repotted. This guy has been forgotten on top of the shelf way too much. So he needs a repot. And then this is a variegated Maranta. Not that you can really tell on some of these leaves. So it just needs a repot. And it actually needs to be combined with this one here. Then I'm going to get a bigger pot for this green Maranta that's always been hanging. And I'm going to combine all of these Maranta cuttings in there with it. And then this one is the cuttings that I did last week. They're rooting beautifully. I have no problems. I just need to find a cover pot for this one and a location. So that's what I got going on over there. All right, so this is still the same as last time. These succulents I want to incorporate into that succulent garden. There's a bunch of propagations. Here's trailing, I don't even know. I think this is supposed to be a trailing string of dolphins, but it's terrible. But yeah, so, and then the lithops are going to stay. The pink lady is going to stay. The pearls and joy, oh my gosh, the pearls and jade is going to stay. And then of course the fern and the pothos is of course going to stay. She's fully attached there, so I'm planning on having her go all the way up and trail over. All right. And then I've got my little ferns here. This is actually new. The table that's on the other side of the room that you just saw used to be right over here. But I went, whoops, let me back up here. There we go. So we had this old desk, like the top of it. So I just decided to put it over here. Eventually I'll probably paint it white. I want to get a little plant in there, but I thought this would be a good place for propagations because it's getting all of the light from up here. So I thought it would be good for down there. And everything is rooting beautifully, of course. So, but it gives me more space here. And then this is just a baby monstera. This is, I potted it up in December. It was just a water rooted cutting. So, and then over here we have a little metal string, but our Micans came off. I think I mentioned this before. So it's grown off the board and I've got to put it on a new board. Alright guys, good morning. It's time to go and help some plants. And we're going to clean up all those plants on the table today and get some repotting done and just try to make the plants a little bit happier today. So that's kind of the plan. Alright, I'm sleepy today. We've been up since 5 this morning. Had to drive and whatnot and make sure my hubby got to work early. Everybody's just got meetings and stuff today. So, not me though. I get to play with plants. So that's the plan. Alright, I'm going to stop stalling and get my butt into gear, get all the stuff together, and we'll repot some stuff. Alright, so first up we have this Maranta. This is a variegated Maranta. They both have suffered a little bit of neglect and we need to remove some of these crispy foliage. Essentially, pests like to hide in crispy foliage, so I'm going to remove as many damaged leaves as possible, just in case I am having a pest outbreak. So this is actually really crucial to having a healthy plant, especially if I'm going to repot it into the same pot and it's going to be more dense, which means there's more places for pests to hide. I do plan on using the same soil, so I'm just adding some perlite. This soil mix was made for a terracotta pot, not the plastic pot I'm going to be potting this new plant in. So I want to make sure I get that extra drainage in there so these roots don't rot. Wow, it's stuck in there. There we go. This one has some good roots too for a propagation. These are actually Maranta corms. I've been waiting to find some of these in my Maranta so that I can chop them and try to propagate that way. I did a similar method with alocasia, so I want to try it with Maranta as well. Looks like there's another one down here. Very cool. Now I'm just mixing that old soil with the perlite. It's very satisfying. I know some people don't like to get their hands dirty, but this is houseplant soil. There's nothing in it nasty, so I don't know. I feel like a little kid when I do it. And I'm
just putting some in the base. This is the size pot that I happen to have. Also, the problem with these plants is I kept letting them dry out too much. So with my habits, I am hoping that a plastic pot is going to be better suited to their moisture-loving nature. There we go, trying to make sure they're kind of all in the center there. And then I'm just going to push the soil in around. And then I'll water it in and I'll add more soil in. And that way I can make sure that it's good in there for them. Such a beautiful plant. And with more light, it's going to get more variegation. It's going to be really cool. Right, this poor Maranta. It's all tangled in this hanger, and that is part of the reason why it has gotten no love in the last 6 months. So it's been in this pot for almost a year, and hanging planters dry out faster. So it just needs a refresh. Now you can tell this strand died at the base here. Only the tip is green. I can try to propagate that. So I'll cut that off, but the rest I think I'm just gonna have to cut off at the base and throw this whole strand away. But that's what happens when you don't get to water the whole thing fully because it's all tangled. And I'm going to do the same thing. The soil is not that old, and Miracle-Gro perlite has, whoa, look at those roots. Wow. That's awesome. It was clearly happy in that pot and needed a repot. Yeah, you can see it was starting to get root bound in there a little bit. But it's got a new shoot, so it's actually pretty happy in there. Yeah, you know that whole I took 9 thing? I definitely took 9. These are all propagations from this plant. I'm just gonna pot them back up with the mother plant. Oh, look at the rhizome. Oh, so cool. I'm gonna propagate that one too. It's just chilling there. And this one has new growth popping up too. That's awesome. I just don't need all these pots of this lying around. Trying to get this really dense foliage or really dense soil off so that way they don't rot in this plastic pot. I think I'm going to use this pot. That's the plan. So let me just get this soil all aerated with this extra perlite. It is a little messy because I did water all the propagations like day before, so the soil is kind of wet, but that's okay, it'll help shape it. I'm going to put sphagnum in the bottom as kind of a mesh. This is a bigger pot with a lot of drainage holes in the bottom, so you can see there's a lot. So a lot of that soil is going to run through every time I water it if I don't put something down, and sphagnum is a safe choice for that. So you just kind of use it as like a natural organic liner and mesh. I do the same thing for my terrariums and it works so well. So I've been incorporating it into potting plants and it's working really well there too. Highly recommend. All right. I want to give you a good shot of this. Look at that. Before it's even hit the sun. Oh dear, this is not gonna work. Yeah, I gotta get a new pot. 1 second. Okay, so this pot is slightly bigger, but I think be a 1/4 inch all the way around, bigger diameter, and then it's deeper as well is gonna work so much better. So I've got to pick out this sphagnum and redo all of that. All right, so let's put the soil back in. This is actually like an outdoor potted plant, nursery pot, so it's definitely deeper. I think this is an 8 or a 10-inch pot. It's hard to tell for me when they get bigger because normally I'm dealing with smaller pots. It's definitely not a small pot though. This is going to be a huge pot of Miranda. Right, trying to backfill here a little bit so that I can put these little propagations The propagations have smaller roots, so I don't want to put them down too deep, and I want to make sure that there's going to be soil there for them to grip onto. So I'm filling it up about 2/3 of the way with soil, and then I'm kind of tucking in these propagations so that way they can be comfy and cozy. It's like having that one blanket that just fits you so perfectly, and you just want to snuggle up in it and be comfy and cozy there for forever. I want this pot to be like the blanket for the Miranda. And there we go. So huge, so heavy. This poor plant, I think it's a jade plant. I'm not 100% sure. I forgot it on top of the bookshelf so many times. I'm just gonna have to chop all of the little tips off. They do have aerial roots on them, so you can kind of see a little bit there. And I'm hoping that they'll root quite easily. We shall see. I did take a stick propagation there too, and we'll see if that roots. On to the perlates. I'm so excited. I'm gonna propagate these rhizomes in perlite because that's what I did with my alocasia, and it worked beautifully. So I know some people like vermiculite, some people like to stick them in spag. I just had really great success with the perlite in this same type of little jar, so I'm just gonna do the same thing again and see if it works. I got 4 little rhizomes in there. Just kind of swooshing them around. I was trying not to damage the little roots they had. Alright, so this calathea just has some crispy tips. It's been doing really, really well. All of its new foliage coming in is perfect. I just want to get rid of any of the foliage that's damaged and dried out, get rid of those crispy bits, because I do have a thrips outbreak and I do have some spider mites roaming around the room a little bit. So I'm just trying to make sure that if this plant is going to get pests, I am going to notice right away. My go-to normal method is to leave all the foliage on as long as it has green, but a pest outbreak kind of makes me change my rules a little bit. So, it does look really pretty though. Okay, so this Dracaena was horribly overwatered, but this dense soil just needs to go. Its roots are happy though. I'm going to get rid of this, repot it in some more of a perlite based soil, and plop it in the greenhouse, and hopefully it can recover.
Alright guys, so today we are going to be potting up those succulents that I showed you in the plant haul earlier this week. And I have this giant bowl. This is about, yep. So this is what we're going to be potting it up in. And no, there is no drainage hole, but I kill succulents anyway, even when I follow all of the requirements. So there is no guarantee that any of these will actually make it. But I do believe that the problem is sunlight more than drainage, so I'm going to put a drainage layer on the bottom, just like I do with my terrarium, since that seems to work really, really well. I'm going to mix perlite and the Bonsai Jack succulent mix, and that's going to be our base layer. So I am going to plant them in a 50% perlite, 50% peat soil mixture, because that's what I've seen works the best for them. I just want to keep them alive. I'm going to put them in a southern facing window downstairs. They're all pretty cold hardy plants, so I think they will do just fine down there. And then when it gets warmer outside, I will move them outside and give them better lighting, adjusting of course so that they don't get burned. I will slowly acclimate them to the brighter light out there. And that is kind of the plan for this little thing. Let's go gather up some succulents and start building a little succulent garden. Okay, so I've kind of gathered up all of the succulents. These are the Graptosetum California Sunset. And then there is a variety of little propagations and whatnot. Kalanchoe, Echeveria, jade plant, whole bunch of stuff in here. This is a Chrysula. And then we've got a couple varieties of the hens and chicks here. And then this is an Echeveria that is suffering greatly. This is another Echeveria that's suffering greatly. As you can see, this one just straight up fell over. Here we have a Haworthia, and then we have Firestorm. Yeah, this is a Sedum Adolphi Firestorm here, is what it's labeled as. Beautiful, vibrant colors. And then this is, shoot, I don't remember what this one was called, but it was a beautiful golden color before, and I'm hoping that it'll become more golden as well. new growth from it when it gets more light, like this almost. And this is String of Dolphins, a propagation gone horribly wrong, but I did notice that it's putting out new growth, so it's definitely still alive. We'll see how that goes. This is an ogre's ear. The rest of it has died except for this, so we'll see. No idea. And then baby Colancho and mommy Colancho. And then I'm not sure what kind of plant this is, but it's also cuttings from my friend Shelly at Plants in a Pickle. And then I also have, here we go. I also have this Crassula cutting, and I don't know if it'll make it or not, but I figured I'd tuck it in there and we'll see what the heck. This whole little Echeveria plant in here too. So I'll just kind of compile all of these and we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, so it is another day. I don't remember what day of the vlog it is. I think it's the 5th day. Today's Friday, if that helps. So, yeah, I've done quite a lot this week. I feel very productive. I've been checking things off my list and doing quite a bit. There's always more adding on, you know how it goes. Also, I totally lost my mic again. So, there is that. Am I organized? No, I am not. Can I keep track of my own stuff? No, I cannot. Am I supposed to be a grown-up adult? Yes, I am. But I'm not. I'm sorry. Okay, so what I have to do today is get my Micans off the board over there, and then I've got to put it on the new cedar boards that I showed you earlier this week. I don't know if they're going to like the location. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I've got to move the Micans, and then I want to put my silver sword philodendron on the other board there. So those are the two things that we're going to be doing. So let's go over the Micans. So let's talk about the Micans. All right. So I've mentioned a couple times the Micans is completely gone off the board here. When it goes off the board and it doesn't stay attached, then the foliage starts getting smaller and smaller again. So here is the last kind of bigger leaf that it had, because it had just started to get bigger again. This whole board fell over, so that's what this damage is. These poor leaves were broken in half, so I'm a little sad about that. But there is multiple vines. You could see here that it got a little overwatered. This does not have a drainage. So I use it as like a cash po, and then I have rocks in the bottom. I didn't know that my son watered it. He was trying to be sweet and helpful, which I appreciate. But basically this thing sat in like a little puddle of water for the last couple of days. So I noticed it this morning, and yeah, this poor thing. So it was looking really great, but I think I might repot it, because when I pulled it out and I checked, it has roots growing out the bottom. So I might repot it a little bit, and I don't know why the stick is in here. But and then I don't know if I'm just gonna take this board and put it next to the other board, or maybe I'll try to pull this off. And I mean, it's pretty attached. Well, maybe I can get it off. You know what? I think I'll probably try to pull it off. Yeah, he watered all of these. So I think I'll try to pull it off the board and then reattach it to the other board, and I'll repot it while I do that. And then I don't know if I'm going to cut it back. I don't know. Should I cut it back here and then let it reroot again? It seems like right here was the last place it's super rooted, and then the rest of the time. I don't know. I might try to do that, and then we can have like a smaller pot of Micans. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so this is kind of where I ended up putting it. I just put this up high enough that there was some leverage, and then I kind of laid it across my little table here. You can see sure exactly how I'm going to do it. I've got to unpot this, so that'll be interesting to kind of, there we go. So that'll be interesting to kind of unpot this from here. And then also I'm going to take all these little vines off and then retape them on the new board. So that'll be kind of cool too. Alright, so I got this container right here, which is just a tiny bit bigger than this one, and I put sphagnum moss in the bottom. I didn't completely pre-moisten it. I'm hoping that that'll help dry this out, and then it'll also kind of soften the roots and help this substrate from leaking down below. Here we go. Wow, that really rooted and really liked that soil mix. Alright guys, so I have decided to kind of start from the top here and then work my way down as far as unattaching this goes. No idea if that's the right way to do it or not, but you know, we'll figure it out as we go. I think I'm gonna chop it up. Okay, so this, let's see if I can get a better angle for you. Oh. Alright, so this is my Philodendron Silver sword. You can see here, it's pretty. It's actually a really accurate representation of what it looks like. Very silver, very shimmery. Reminds me of Peperomia napoleonites. So as you can see, the foliage was much bigger down here. This was a top cutting, and then I took a cutting from it right down here and gave it to a friend, the top cutting of it. So ever since, these were smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Alright, so that's just kind of what's going on with this one. And I think since it was so easy to remove the Micans from this board, I'm just going to put this one on this board and see what it does with this grow light and this board and see how fast it gets bigger. So that's kind of the plan there. Let me get that done. Take it on the board like we did another one. These top two leaves are really small, so I'm actually going to go ahead and cut here and then watch it regrow and we'll see from there. So I'm just going to cut right there, and then I can always make another cut if I need to. But here's this little guy, and I'll go ahead and root him. And then maybe a friend of mine can have some Philodendron Silver sword. We'll pass that baby on. Alrighty, so that is all done. And then I think in the next vlog, we'll make a propagation box for all of those things. I just don't have the time right this second. So that looks good. I'm pretty pleased with that. That was about as intimidating as I thought it was going to be. So, I'm so tired. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing next week, but we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see the next one when it comes out. All right. Well, I'm going to go get some coffee, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.